Hey Leah, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite orientation? And if so, which orientation?
Um, I mean, I don't, I mean, I guess. I guess,
Have you ever thought
sure.
about it before?
Not really. What do you have a favorite orientation?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
Well, I would think east because the sun rises in the east and it just makes the whole world go round and glow bright. I'm Lamont and I'm ready to destroy the box.
And I'm Leia. What box? Box?
And
And
you're
you're
tuning
tuning
into
into the
the
Lamont
Lamont
and
and
Leah
Leah podcast.
podcast.
Oh my gosh, Leah, I'm so excited. Guess who I got to come talk to us today?
Should I pretend I don't know?
Yes, Leah.
Who, Lamont? Who is coming today?
Yeah, we're gonna do that. Oh my god. Her name is Christal Vison. Yes, her name's Christal Vison, and she's all about developing the authentic self and self love. And I would say she is somewhat of a sexual guru, and she's a lovely person to behold. I can't wait. Welcome to the show, Christal. Christal, Leigh and I are so glad and happy to have you today. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself so our viewers and our listeners can get to know you a little bit better?
Sure. Yeah. So I am Christal Vison, and I am a mystical erotic embodiment guide. And I help super savvy mystical women and also queer men tap into their deeper spiritual gifts through their erotic center.
That is very awesome. Very awesome. You're also a mom, right? And a wife.
I am. Yes, I am a mom and a wife. I have two kids. I have a 17-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I take much pleasure in being a full-time mom to them, and also a wife, playing with my husband, my beloved. And I'm out here in Colorado right now, and originally from Southern California, though. So left the beach to go to the mountains.
Nice.
And I want to say you're a pretty big ally. So for
Yeah,
the
sure.
LGBT plus community,
Absolutely. Part of it, not just an ally, part of it.
part of it. Woo!
Yeah.
So this episode is part of our Pride series,
Awesome.
and
Oh, I'm
yeah,
so
so
honored to be here during this.
yeah,
Wonderful.
and we can't talk about gay people without talking about sex, right? Because that's what everyone thinks that gay people are all about, right? Sex.
Mhm.
And like, I don't want to focus just on gay people in general. I just want to focus on people, but
Mhm.
people, and especially gay people, we're sexual creatures. And so I kind of wanted to talk about that today. But when it comes to sex, what I've noticed or how I lived a lot of my life is in a box. When we say the
Mhm.
word box, what are we saying? What are we trying to communicate?
Yeah. Well, for me, communicating the word box in anything, but specifically sexuality, is conditioning, and the choice to be within that conditioning. But sometimes, this is an unconscious, there are plenty of unconscious boxes and conditionings that are alive for people. But yeah, the mentality that we uh, show up with and play in. I mean, that's the thing, right? There are edges to these boxes also. So sometimes being sexuality really shows up where we play to those edges and those conditionings, and who knows where they came from, right? But uh, the work I do really helps people get to those edges and start to round out if they are serving or not serving for them.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
And something significant that you said is like, who knows where they come from, right? It sounds like there's lots of different places that these boxes can form. What are some common places?
Yeah. So, I mean, as we know, society and also the culture of our family. I mean, ultimately, I think it all dials down to culture, whether that be within our home or our educational system or just society at large, at our jobs. Um, it's the conditioning of the pendulums that are out there. This is good, this is bad, and us, our energy being swept up in that. And that's another way of looking at a box, is that understanding that we get swept up energetically in these pendulums that are what are about sexuality, that are considered to be how things should be. And then there's the other side of there's always going to be an opposing force, that says this, no, it shouldn't be like that. So my work is about helping people get to the center and not being on either side of that pendulum or within that box, needing to be in that identification and choosing their autonomous path that's authentic to them.
Right, right.
That
Leia.
answer your question?
Yeah, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Leia, what are some of the common boxes that you've heard of or experienced, maybe?
Um, Let me think about that. I mean, well, so Lamont, you and I both grew up in Christian households in the church, same church. So definitely one that I know both of us heard was don't even think about it. Don't even consider anything sexual until you're married. Don't do
Mm.
it.
Right.
That's probably like the biggest one that was pushed.
That
Like,
like
definitely.
comes to mind. It kind of reminds me of that one scene from Mean Girls where that coach is like, "You have sex, you die."
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like that's so right. Um,
Wow.
I've heard weird things like if people choose to masturbate, they'll go blind.
I've heard that one too.
What?
Not said to me,
Yeah.
but I've heard.
I've never heard
Okay,
that.
I am so glad you've never heard that. Like
Me too. I'm so glad I never
that
heard
is
that.
so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then like the biggest, like I feel like women are the biggest barriers, not barriers,
Bearers.
the bearers, yeah, the biggest bearers of like don't have sex. It's your responsibility. You have to stay clean and pure, and if you don't, you bring shame on the family
Mm.
Yep.
and stuff.
In
Or they
religion.
get blamed like, oh, they're the temptress. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Oh my
whoa,
gosh.
like, what about the
Yeah.
dudes, man?
What about the dude?
Like a lot
Well,
is like on like stuck on women, and then of
this is,
course, oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, this is really pointing to that these boxes all come from fear. Well, a lot of them
Hmm.
come
Yeah.
from fear-based mindset, right?
Yeah.
Of whether it's the mom who's trying to protect her child from having a teen pregnancy, or some fear-based mindset that can come from religion. Even some people, yeah, they're thinking that they're taking care of others, but it really is, are you choosing fear or are you choosing love? And where are you coming from? So I feel like there's a lot of boxes that get formed from that as well.
Yeah, I would definitely say fear. Fear is
Mhm.
definitely a key component.
Yeah.
Component. And then my favorite one of all is, you're gay, you're going to hell. So,
Ah,
and that's usually from like church.
silly games, silly
Yeah,
games that humans
fear, like
come up with.
yeah, fear, control, shame.
Shame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like specifically like being told like this is like sex is only procreation. That's it. So if you like it, you're dirty. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Mine,
Yeah.
mine
That
was
really shows
sex
up where
is
it's so
for
weird
work.
because we're given these bodies to travel the planet in, to feel pleasure with. And such interesting messaging, that we are bad and wrong for being in our pleasure, or that we're bad and wrong at all, that we're
Right.
broken in some way,
Right.
that we need to be fixed by something outside of us, when we are actually the true children of source and God and the expression of that on this planet, perfect in its entire form. We are here, playing the parts of ourselves. Really, we're just God in drag at this point. And
I love that.
yeah, we are from source, and we're here to be that expression experiencing itself. So it's so silly to me, but even that has value, because each being and each idea has a place on the planet, and I believe it brings, there's value and balance in all of it, for sure. But it's silly to me that we wouldn't own our pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are sexual bodies, people. Let's use them.
So sexuality is so big and encompassing, right? And there's so many kinds of sexualities out there. And so Leigh and I promised you guys that we would talk about what is gay, what is lesbian, what is pansexual, and we have Christal here to help us maybe define those a little bit more better. Obviously, not every definition is going to work for you, and that's okay. Choose whatever or don't choose whatever fits or works for you. But to help us out a little bit, I found a video that I'm going to share with us. So,
Gender and sexuality are two concepts that are incredibly individualized, and so it shouldn't be surprising that they are so complex. It can be hard to navigate the world of sexuality due to the different terms and labels. This video aims to help you navigate this world by arming you with some definitions and examples of 10 different sexualities, some of which you might not even know about. 1. Bisexuality. The definition for bisexuality is actually something that's debated. Originally, the standard definition was attraction to both genders. However, as understanding of gender has evolved, people have argued for an evolved definition of bisexuality. Some use the definition of attraction to your own and other genders to incorporate non-binary genders within its definition. Some famous examples of people who are bisexual are Brandon Urie from the band Panic at the Disco and actress Angelina Jolie. 2. Homosexuality. This is one of the terms that most people tend to be familiar with. It means attraction to one's own gender, and is sometimes referred as gay or lesbian. Famous examples include comedian Alan Carr and presenter Sue Peterson. 3. Heterosexuality. Heterosexuality is probably the most well-known sexuality, and whether right or wrong, it is often thought of as the default. This is known as heteronormativity. It means attraction to genders other than your own. It's most commonly used to refer to binary genders. 4. Pansexuality. Pansexuality is defined as an attraction to all genders. Some say those who are pansexual don't care about gender when it comes to their attraction, though not all agree with this assessment. Some people also use the sexuality and bisexuality interchangeably. Miley Cyrus is a notable person who is pansexual. 5. Polysexuality. Polysexuality refers to people who are attracted to two or more genders. Typically, bisexuality and pansexuality are types of polysexuality, though not all people who are polysexual use these terms. 6. Asexuality. Asexuality is one of the lesser-known sexualities. It refers to someone who doesn't experience sexual attraction to any gender. This doesn't mean, however, that they never have relationships or sex, which are common myths about asexuality. BoJack Horseman, the TV show, explores asexuality through one of the major characters, Todd Chavez. 7. Gray asexuality. This is similar to the previous sexuality. However, instead of never experiencing sexual attraction, someone who is gray sexual may very rarely experience sexual attraction. They are still valid under the asexuality umbrella, despite occasionally experiencing sexual attraction. 8. Demisexuality. Demisexuality, again, can technically fall under the asexual umbrella. People who are demisexual do experience sexual attraction, but only after an emotional connection is created. They wouldn't find a stranger on the street sexually appealing, but after they get to know someone well, the possibility of sexual attraction is there. Demisexuality is considered the halfway point between asexuality and allosexuality, those who experience sexual attraction. 9. Androsexuality. Androsexuality is a sexuality that outside of LGBT circles is not well known at all. It refers to someone who is attracted to a masculine gender presentation. This can refer to anyone of any gender, man, woman, or non-binary. 10. Gynosexuality. Gynosexuality, like androsexuality, is not well known. It refers to someone who is attracted to a feminine gender presentation. This could again refer to any individual of any gender.
So, 10 different sexualities.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I hadn't actually heard of any, not any, like the last half, I hadn't heard of a few of those. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And then I saw you over there like, what? Miley? My Miley?
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't know that. I mean, still love her to death, but yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Christal, was anything new to you, or did you know all this?
The andro and gynosexualities, those are newer. Those are new to me. Also, the demi is really fun. I loved that. I connect with that actually. But
Right.
I have a lot, but emotional connection super arousing for me. I'm like, oh, I'm on now, you know, if I have that heart connection, which points back to just being energetic, having a lot of energetic erotic energy inside of me. But yeah, I was sitting in the asexuality, just even being, I haven't thought of asexual in a while, so I'm glad that got brought up. And I want to share that it's really, there's asexuality, and I'm sure people can deal with this their entire life, or not even deal with this, but just be in this position their entire life. Then there's also a school of thought around being in a resting sexuality, where you are taking a time where you're not utilizing that erotic flow in your system, and just being able to fully embrace that. So I think it kind of pointed to that a little bit, and I was appreciating that kind of giving it a name, but also just how beautiful all of those are and how fluid they all can be. And people going in between. I mean, me myself, I've floated probably between 3 or 4 of those in my life. So
that's what I was
another
saying.
sexuality of you can float between all of them.
Yeah, that's what I was originally thinking, because originally I'm like, I'm pansexual, I'm all about the heart-mind connection and stuff, but then when they introduced those other ones, I was like, oh snap, so I might be pansexual. It's true that I am interested in the person, but also I don't often get sexually interested into a person until I get to know that person. And that was part of the demi, right?
Yeah,
right. And then a lot of times I love male energy. Like, I'm attracted to male energy. So that would make me part of the andro. Sexual. Yeah, and I was like, huh.
You know,
like, I mean, I love my ladies, and I love when my ladies are on fire and sexy, and they're owning it, and they're feeling confident in their bodies, and that just makes me smile and happy, but it doesn't draw me sexually half the time. Sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah.
It has to be that real special one, right? She's really on fire.
So I thought that was very interesting. So I was like, well, maybe I'm not just pansexual. Like,
it's interesting that there's so many terms. Like, one of the things I hear from people who are either like wondering what different sexualities is, or people who are coming from like a heteronormative, mindset, they're always just like, why do there need to be so many? Like, why do there need to be labels? Like, that's the one I hear all the time.
I hear that too.
And I guess it's just like, there's some people who really embrace all the labels, and they're just like, yeah, I'm a ABCD, you know, like I'm all these things. They like to, like, it's almost like micromanaging yourself, labeling. But then there's people on the opposite side who are just like, no, I'm just queer.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And I guess to, like, those people who are wondering why there's so many labels, I think it's like up to the individual whether they want to participate in, like, the different labels, or if they rather just be an umbrella term. Because I've seen both. And that's why, Lamont, you were saying, well, like, yeah, I'm pansexual, but also I was identifying with this one and identifying with this one. And it's just like, you're comfortable with that term of pansexuality, which is wonderful. But then you're also open to, like, okay, well, other things that have other labels, you know, I can identify with, but, you know, I kind of just want to go by this term, and that's fine. So that was just like a little PSA to any any of our listeners who may be, like, wondering why there's so many labels.
Yeah, no. I think this gives us an opportunity for community, but then the other argument, or the other side of the argument, is there's so much and it divides. Like, it becomes a versus. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be a verse. It could be like an and, or this is who they are, and they're still part of this community. You know. So it can get tough. It can get tough. And I think that's why I love Christal's work. It's really not about the labels. It's about getting you to where you need to be in yourself and accepting what's ever right for you.
I agree.
What your authentic truth
Yeah.
is. And you know, I feel, as far as all the labeling, I totally honor it. And if that's what feels right in someone's system, more power to them. And I also think it's okay for us to learn new language, you know, because that's what it is. It's an asking of us to learn new things and communicate deeper with each other, and be more responsible about the communication that we're sharing with each other. So really, it comes down to, how am I going to communicate the significance around this that I'm feeling inside, right? So yeah, no labels for me. Labelless, right? The nothingness is where I live, and bring my clients to, is for them to understand that stillness and presence within them. And we get there through sexuality. But yeah, the labels can be great tools.
Yeah.
For sure, on that path. For sure.
Yeah. Christal, what are some ways, I'm kind of going back to the box talk, but, like, what are some ways people can start breaking down their boxes and begin their journey to their enlightenment sexual selves?
Yeah. So going into your boxes, or we can translate that now into maybe some limited belief systems, or limited thinking, or blocked energy, or stuck energy in the system. So the way to unravel that is to go into it. So the only way out is through, right? And the mind is such a beautiful tool that we have. So if we can duplicate these experiences that have us blocked, say that there was a trauma or a conditioning that kind of sat in the system and gave us this experience of being stuck. Okay, I'm not going, let me give an example. Maybe when I was a kid, my mom would get really jealous if she saw my dad, you know, fawning after someone else. And it stuck out to me. because she was, that's mine. He's not, not yours. He's mine. That stuck out to me. And that rose up for me in my adult life at one point where it was showing up as stuck energy. I was playing that role out because I was repeating my mom and it was in my system, but it wasn't my truth. That's not what was true for me. What's true for me is I want my partners to enjoy all the bodies and see all the things and feel their arousal, right? So uh, the way to dissolve that blockage inside of me is honoring it as units of energy that are in my system. And when we duplicate those units of energy and we go into the mind, as the mind doesn't know if we're imagining something or not, right? We know that from science now, that the mind is, if you're an imagination, it's creating the same chemicals that would be happening if you were actually in that experience. So you go into the mind and you see it fully and completely, and you do duplication. You see it, you feel it, you hear it, you smell it, you do all of the things to duplicate it so it can finish the loop. It can say, okay, now I fully understand this moment and I can release it. So that can happen in it comes up in images, thoughts, emotions, and body sensations. If we can duplicate those things where we feel stuck, then we'll start to see the charge, the energetic charge around them dissolve. So that's one way. And then another way is to honor the parts that are in us. We are a database. We're like the main computer, and we have a database of parts that all want to have a say, that show up when they're needed. I have a protector part, and I have a sexual part, and I have a mom part, and I have, we have all these different parts that are our we're the main database, we're the computer, but there's so many little, I don't know how to like make that what those things would be called, but there's so much little data in there that wants to come out, and we're the operating system is what I'm trying to say. And it comes out and it functions our life. So it's honoring the parts of us that that are wanting a voice. So if there's a sexual part of you that you're in shame around, it's, how do I get into that and love that part of me with tenderness and presence, rather than keeping it in the shadows? But our parts have parts as well. So we have to see what is blocking, right? Say I have a highly erotic being that wants to come out into the world and be alive. There's maybe a protector part that says, well, you can't, it's not safe. Right? So we have to deal with this part first and dissolve the charge around it, and then be able to cultivate and coagulate other parts that we would rather be living with.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of hard work.
Can introspection.
Can people do this by themselves, or do you recommend like having help?
Yeah, I recommend having help for sure. Thank you. That's a good question. You can go into these parts of yourself by yourself. Yeah, we're all capable of self-processing. Okay, we are all capable of listening and going into our body and hearing what it's bringing to us, and hearing these deep, profound gifts of messages that it has. We're all capable of honoring those voices and those intuitions, and we're all capable of, dissolving the energy. This is obviously my study, right? So I know how to self-process. If something comes up, it's like, okay, let's go into a process immediately. It's really this radical self-responsibility that you take on, and you say, if I feel stuck, if I feel constriction in my body, then I'm going to decharge that and dissolve it. So what I would say to people that do want to start to process these things themselves is to tune into their bodies. The body doesn't lie. The mind will lie to you, but the body will not lie. So cultivating a deeper relationship with the body and the energetic field inside of it is what really brings out the opportunities and the gifts to process through what you're feeling. So feel your feelings, basically. People, feel your feelings.
Yeah. I've said that
Don't shove 'em
multiple
down.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
stuff them in the trunk.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if we can all just take a few moments just to talk about maybe a little bit of our struggle and where we are now, like in our journeys, like sexually.
I love that.
All right. Do you want me to go first, Leah? I'll go first, Leah.
Yes.
All right. So I think at the beginning of the podcast, we kind of talked about a little, like how I had given up hookup culture. I wasn't finding fulfillment in that. I was missing that intimate piece, that attachment piece, someone wanting to build something real with me. And I had just decided to stop, and so I did. I'm kind of still there, but I think it also took me a while to get there too. And I think early in my early 20s, even though I was having sex and I was hooking up, there were those messages like being gay is bad, having sex with guys is bad, I possibly can go to hell for this. But like why am I still having these urges, these drives, and not being fully comfortable in expressing myself sexually? Like, yeah, I would have a good time, but was I really having a good time? Or after the experience, like going into a real deep depression, like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I want to say, like, doing the work, learning to love myself on in different levels, honoring the different parts of who I am. I don't struggle with it as much. I think it comes up every once in a while, and I'm like, I know where that's coming from, and it's okay for me to feel this, and I know this is not the truth. So that's kind of where I'm in my journey right now. I'm still wanting to connect very much intimately, build something romantic and pure and good with someone, and you can do that. You don't have to be in a relationship to do that. I would like to be in a relationship to do that, but I know that you don't have to be in a relationship to do that. And again, I think that's what Christal's saying, like that's part of who I am, and so that's honoring myself if I follow this path. And so that's kind of where I'm in my journey right now.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I'm just gonna go over here.
Are you hiding?
I'm
She was
hiding.
hiding a little bit.
Are you hiding?
I was hoping she would. I was hoping, like, honestly, I was like, I'm going to ask this question. I have no idea how Leia's going to respond. But I was hoping you're going to be like, I love Patrick, and this is our story. Like, this is how I'm free now. I was really hoping for that, but I guess I was, like, off mark.
I guess for me, I'm very private about this topic, this section. In the last like maybe year or two, I've questioned why I'm so private about it, especially like even with like my friends. Like I'm very like I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna talk about this. I've been questioning whether it is just because that's how I am, or is it because I've been taught to feel shame about these topics. So that's pretty much all I'm gonna say. There's still a
Okay.
box here. We'll figure it out one day.
You will. Life's a journey.
But yeah, that's as much as you're gonna get out of me.
Alrighty.
Leah,
Yes.
can I ask you a very safe question?
Yes.
So when you feel into, if you just take a minute and like get into your body, if you just feel into if it is shame or it is just how you are, what shows up as more true for you?
Probably shame. Yeah, there's still a lot of like residual stuff from growing up, both as in a Christian household and also a strict Polynesian culture that was like really based in Christianity and Catholicism. Um, but as I'm looking more into my culture, I'm realizing just how more open the culture was originally before the introduction of Christianity and Catholicism into it.
Before the introduction of colonizers, man. You ruined
Colonization.
everything.
Let's call it what it is. So yeah, like I it's part of my journey on trying to like connect with my culture too. So yeah.
Delicious.
Eventually.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, very curious about that. And I would just encourage you to, on this journey of kind of unraveling those types of things. Yeah, it's not easy. This is not for, relaxation time or anything like that. It's not, it's definitely for someone who is ready to do the work and they're brave enough to hold space in themselves with deep, deep, deep tenderness. And that's what I would want to invite in that moment, is just to say to you that it's okay for you to be exactly where you are, and that also when you are ready, tenderness will be the key. Yeah, tenderness for that shame and whatever ideas and stuff is living there. So, but thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you. I'll take those into my thoughts as well.
Yeah, tenderness for sure. So my journey is that my journey is that I have always been known I was a sexual being. I've known it my entire life. I mean, I remember being at preschool knowing I was a sexual being and being excited about it. It wasn't really anything that I ever really felt that I needed to hide or put away, but I did grow up in a religious setting, so there was some shame that came through. I had some also traumatic experiences with sexual abuse and that being around in my family, and that I feel, coupled with my deep love for being in my body and feeling sexual, plus the traumatic experiences were a great and wonderful recipe in blossoming this version of myself and this work that I'm doing and this experience that I have as an erotic guide. So it was about 2 years ago, as I've been coaching in the energetic world for almost 2 decades. It was about 2 years ago that I decided to bring sexuality into it and deepen that experience. And it's because Kundalini basically came. She was ready to awake me. Kundalini does not give you a choice. If it's time, it's time. And it's a deep, deep, deep sexual awakening that happens when you understand that your sexuality is actually your spirituality. When we let our sexuality live in the shadows, what we're doing is keeping all of our spiritual gifts hidden as well, because all of our spiritual gifts and all of our gifts, period, live in our shadows. And when you can bust through that with the dissolving of whatever is in the way and allow those gifts to come through, erotic energy carries them through, because it's the most creative energy on the planet. I mean, this is literally how we get to the planet, is through erotic energy, right? So to be in any way, shape, or form in shame around that, or have had to absorb that that's a shameful thing in itself, kind of gives us the idea that we are bad, broken, and wrong. It's like this unconscious, you're bad, broken, or wrong. You got here through sex, and sex is bad. What is that carrier wave we're agreeing to? So, yeah, my journey is that about 2 years ago, I just decided it's time to let this flow through. I did. It was hard. It was very hard. And I'll say that, but with tenderness and focus and being held, which was a major, needing to go through that journey alone was, I did that at some point and knew, no, I need support to bring me through. I need mentors and coaches to bring me through. And that's what ended up happening. Now I'm here. I'm having the best sex of my life. I love being in my body. I feel sexier than I've ever have in my entire life. My spiritual gifts are alive. I am living the life of my dreams. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I've got a great relationship with my beloved, and our sex is awesome, and it continues to expand. We're always searching for just the next fun thing, and I've never loved being in my body more than I do now.
It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I really hope people will watch this and be like, you know what? I want to do work with Christal. Like, I think she can get me to that next level. So speaking of which, Christal, once again, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on, talking with Leah and myself. If people wanted to connect with you or get in contact with you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, they can find me on Facebook or Instagram. And they can find me at unkinked.love. That's UNKINKED.love.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
And all those will be in the show description, of course. So,
Of course.
Awesome.
And then summer is here, and we're wondering, do you have anything you're working on, anything coming up that you would like to share with us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just launched an enrollment situation where I am offering to 5 women, which I already have 3 enrolled, into a mentorship with me. It's a 6-month mentorship. And we work on all things erotic and spirit and mystical gifts, and bringing them out into the world and just fully getting embodied in what serves them and busting through all the bullshit that is in their way. So that is happening this summer. I have 2 spots left, and it's already underway and fabulous for the people I'm working with. But also, it would be really beneficial for anybody who is in wanting to learn more about this work, if they come join my group on Facebook. It's Unkink Yourself. And there we go over, well, it's just a really cool group. There's lots of super yummy, fun people. We talk all things erotic, mystical stuff. And this summer, I'm going to be going through a lot of like challenges and offering a lot of free content for people to journey with me through their erotic experience kind of as a group. So if people want to come and play there, that would be a good thing too this summer.
All right. And then finally, is there any message that you would love for us to hear today that you feel maybe compelled to leave us with?
Yeah, what's arising is solve et coagula. So what that means is that we have to dissolve before we can coagulate something new. So as we all decide in our lives that we want to really shift or change or create a new experience, first we must dissolve what is in our way.
All right, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, you guys, you beautiful beings, you masters. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
Are you ready for this activity?
It depends. What are we doing?
So, I found this video of this girl who has to guess other people's orientation. And I thought, how fun would it be for Leah and I to guess people's orientation? Now, I want to put like a disclosure on there. People...
Disclaimer.
Or just disclaimer. Why did I say disclosure?
Yeah.
I would do a disclaimer. People, let's not go around and judge people like orientation. I know we do it in our heads, but it's really not cool. And I think the whole purpose of this video is to show you how wrong we can be and how cool it really isn't.
Yeah.
But for fun, I thought it would be fun. So it says, we asked Sammy to guess the sexual orientation of strangers.
Do you know what you're doing today?
I'm gonna be assuming people's sexual orientation.
Do you do that in your head?
Totally, I think everyone does.
What's your sexual orientation?
I think that queer is like the best terminology that I can use.
Do you want to get everybody right today?
I don't want to get everybody right. I want to be wrong. It's not something that anybody should be able to understand about you without having been said to you.
All right, are you ready to meet all these people?
Yes.
All right, so, the first person that comes in is wearing a maroon shirt, black pants with black shoes, and he has a watch. He has his hands to the side as well. Leah, what would you think his orientation might be?
I am going to say that he is straight, but everyone is going to think that he is possibly gay.
I'm going to say that I think he's straight, and I would even go as far to say that he's metrosexual. And metrosexuals are straight men who take really good care of themselves and could be a little bit effeminate. I can never say that word. Right?
Effeminate. So yes,
Yes.
they're in touch with their female energy. I don't think that term is really used anymore because
Metrosexual?
I think like a lot of men nowadays are realizing that it's okay to be in touch with their feminine side, and
God,
so
I
I
hope
don't
so.
I don't think it's like really as popular it was as like in the early 2000s when I guess it was like weird for a guy to be non-masculine, but that's a whole other topic.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's play.
Right off the bat, I think that you're queer.
Oh. Why do you think that?
Well, you give me a very gentle vibe. Everything fits nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you did this.
Yeah.
I think you're gay.
You think I'm gay?
I think you're gay.
Unfortunately, you're wrong. I am straight.
This is great.
Why do you think that's great that you're wrong?
I want to be in a world where people know that like a guy who is gentle and mild-mannered is totally straight. I want everyone to see how wrong they are.
All right, so this is our next person.
He's so cute.
She is adorable.
Oh.
She has like long pigtails. Is that what?
Yeah,
you-
so I'll describe her because
Go
she's
ahead.
adorable. Okay, so she is a little thicker. She's so cute. She's wearing pigtails. She has some like little side pieces with straight across bangs and these big old glasses. They look circular. She's got that like new baggy pants trend with her shirt tucked in, a little chain, some combat boots. Adorable, like overall, just adorable.
Yeah, I would say she's queer. I would say like she's queer, maybe not gay or straight, maybe somewhere in between. I'm getting a queer sense. What are you getting, Leah?
Yeah, the outfit definitely screams like bisexual energy.
Possibly. She could be bisexual. Let's
Yeah.
see.
I see something in you that is very similar to me, so I think that you are like pansexual or bisexual. I feel like the way you're dressed, like it's like this playful kind of like boyish look, but it's also like you got the cute like little mermaid curls and the round glasses. I think bisexual.
So
Yeah.
you're kind of right with the whole like pansexual, but I'm not sexually attracted to people, so I would consider myself asexual.
I didn't even remember that that one was an option, and that's dope. Do you only date other asexual people?
It's a common misconception that like asexuals don't have sex.
Yeah.
It's definitely a spectrum, and there's definitely people on each end. There's like people who are repulsed, and then there's people who are flexible.
Yeah.
And I definitely consider myself more on like the flexible side. I can in the future see myself having sex with someone if I'm like really interested in them. But
Yeah.
like it's not something that I look for in somebody.
Oh, he gay. He's sexy. He's chocolate.
I
I
was
love those braids.
just gonna say, Lamont's new boyfriend just walked in.
I think he's gay. I actually don't know. He could be bi, but I feel like he's a decent looking, attractive African American gay man.
He's wearing like some looser fitting jeans. He's got a red tank top on. He's got his hair, was that braided?
Yeah, cornrows.
I think he's straight.
You think he's straight?
I think he's straight.
That would break my heart if he's straight, but let's find out.
Sorry,
Let's
Lamont.
find out.
I think you're straight. I get the feeling that you would flirt with me in the right situation, and that, like, so I just have that vibe.
Why don't you flirt?
All right. What do you like to do at night?
At night?
I mean, hey, like, you know, on the weekend, like, what do you like to
I like to eat hot Cheetos and play video
do? Hot
games.
Cheetos. Okay, hey, that sounds like fun.
Is she right or wrong?
You were totally wrong.
Man, really? High five!
Yes, I identify as a gay man.
Do you feel in certain situations that you are not coming across as gay enough to the rest of the queer community?
I feel like there's kind of that imposter syndrome where you feel like you're not like enough for either side of like anything.
Okay, so I want to say this beautiful tall woman just walked in.
She's wearing a hijab and but she's wearing sandals.
And sandals. Yeah. Let's. What would be your guess, Leah?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what the what's the girl's name? Sammy, the one who's being interviewed. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna say exactly what she says, but like my first instinct is I'm taught that she's definitely straight. She definitely has a husband, like everything. So I think, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I think she's a lesbian.
You think she's a lesbian?
Yes.
All right. I feel like you, Leah. I feel like I've been conditioned, taught to build that box. Like people who wear hijabs are straight, are married, have families and stuff. I'm gonna say she might be part of my people, and she might be pansexual, possibly, or lesbian.
Because of my assumptions, I think that you're straight, and that's because of a lot of just like visuals.
What kind of visuals? What do you
Yeah, it's you're Muslim, and that just like immediately makes me think you're straight.
Do you think that all Muslims are straight?
No.
What do you think about me then?
I mean, I think you're straight, but I think I could be wrong.
All I'm getting is that because I'm Muslim, you think that I'm straight. And I don't think that's a good
It's
reason.
not a good reason. It's not a good reason. It's hard for me to make any assumptions about you because your outfit like only reads to me as like, oh, this is someone who is Muslim, and I can't make any assumptions based on anything else in
Are
their
you
outfit.
saying that I can't express myself with a modest
No,
outfit?
I think you can. I think I'm not able to read it.
Okay. I'm not straight. I identify as pansexual.
That's dope. I love that. Can I give you
Sure. Do you think if you see Muslims when you leave this place, do you think you might question if they're straight or not now?
I don't think about people's sexuality like all the time, like when I'm passing people on the street.
Yeah.
But in a conversation, maybe I would be a little bit more like, oh, I wonder what's, yeah.
Whoa, that seemed very confrontational.
I know. I was just gonna say, I was like, why is she giving her so much attitude? Like, this is supposed to be like a, like, obviously they're putting Sammy into like a, you know, a situation. You know, they're knowingly going into the situation. Why she give her so much attitude? Like,
Oh, this guy. So this guy just did a twirl. I'm pretty sure he's straight. Look at his shoes. Look at his pants. Look at his shirt.
yeah. So for our
was thinking-
listeners, he is he's not very tall. He's like an average height black guy. He's got some tattoos. He's just wearing like a boxy t-shirt, some loose fitting pants, some sneakers. Yeah, I'm gonna go with straight.
You go straight too.
Yeah.
Can you do your favorite dance move? I think,
Choose wisely.
fuck, dude. I think you're straight.
Do you?
No, I want to change my answer. I think that you're queer. You take good care of yourself. I think that you are teasing me a lot right now, which is something that queer people are so good at, and they earn every right to it.
So is your final answer queer?
I think queer.
My sexual orientation is straight, so you are wrong.
But I had my
you were right at first. You
instinct.
should have stuck with your gut.
As soon as he started teasing her, I was like, no, he's straight. Definitely straight. That's some like straight male energy.
All right, Leah. What'd you think of our activity?
It was okay. I mean, So that video was by the channel Cut. Just, so that we can give them their credit.
Yeah, it'll be linked in the description for you
Yeah,
guys.
of course. So if you guys want to go watch the full video, it'll be linked below. I feel like these videos are supposed to be a little uncomfortable and awkward because that's like the whole point of their thing, is to bring uncomfortable and topics that could be a little awkward like to light. So it was awkward, but that's kind of like the point.
Yeah.
I think I agree with what she said at the beginning, our friend Sammy. Like, it's not really something you think of, and sometimes you just assume it, and you could be wrong. To me, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I don't think it really matters whether unless you're hitting on them, I don't think it really matters. And if you hit on someone and they're not, your... How do I say that? Their orientation does not line up with your...
Orient?
Or whatever. Doesn't orient with you. I don't think it should be as big of a deal as some people make it out to be. So my example would be like, Patrick is very straight. And, he's had guys hit on him before, but it's not a big deal. He just goes, oh, sorry, I'm not interested in men. And they go, okay, have a good night. And that's it. And I think that's just how it should be.
I love Patrick. He's such an ally. He's such a great guy.
He's great. Interesting topic today, Lamont. I'm going to have to go do some soul searching, I guess.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, what'd you think of today's topic?
I learned a lot, and I think just for my wrap up, I would say you as an individual get to choose how you want to identify. So if you would like
Agreed.
to stay, I don't think being in a box needs to technically be a negative thing. Like, if someone wants to define themselves as specified by society, I don't think it's if that's what you want to do and you feel comfortable and that is yourself, or how did Christal put it? Your true authentic self, or I forget what she said. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But you know what I mean? If it's true to you, then I don't think it needs to be a bad idea. I don't think it needs to be so negative to label yourself if you want to. But I think we also need to be knowledgeable and appreciative of those who choose not to, who don't want to have labels, don't want to be stuck in a box. So that's just what I have to say about it.
To piggyback off of you, Leah, I think being in a box is only bad if it stops your growth or stunts you from exploring other parts of you that are crying out to you. And so I guess that's the fear, right? I don't want you, the viewer or listener, to live in fear. I want you to wade into the fear, find out why you were afraid, and overcome that fear, and then decide, this is me or this is not me.
I agree.
Kind of thing.
Yep.
Today's life lesson is learning to just want yourself. Many of us in life just want to be wanted. This is a normal feeling. Unfortunately, many of us wrap our lives in this pursuit. We need validation from others. We want to be understood and feel like we matter. Today, if you haven't, I encourage you to start your journey of self-love. And if you have, keep on in your journey. When we learn to love ourselves thoroughly, the right people will come into our lives. And that is today's life lesson.